All right, folks. I wanted to talk a little bit today about a statement made by Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush. Now, as most of you know, there are ongoing votes in the U.S. House to select the next Speaker of the House. And so far, the frontrunner is Republican Kevin McCarthy, who through 6 votes so far has fallen short. Now, Republicans also put forth a potential alternative to Kevin McCarthy, a guy by the name of Byron Donalds from Florida. Now, Cori Bush, in her infinite wisdom, tweeted or made a statement today regarding Mr. Donalds. She said, "For what it's worth, Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate for Speaker. He is a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. His name being in the mix is not progress. It's pathetic." Okay, now Cori Bush is also somebody who in 2021, on the 4th of July, said, "When they say that the 4th of July is about American freedom, remember this. The freedom they're referring to is for white people. This land is stolen land, and people still aren't free. Black people still aren't free." Okay, so this is just a woman that is a complete reprobate. She just couldn't help herself. She just couldn't help herself. She saw this, you know, congressman from Florida who happens to be black, who a lot of people in the party like. He's been making some moves. He's getting himself out there. He's elevating his status within the party, and she just couldn't take it. So Mr. Donalds responded and said, "For what it's worth, nobody asked Cori Bush her opinion on the matter. Before you judge my agenda, let's have a debate over the policies and the outcomes. Until then, don't be a crab in a barrel." Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a classy response to a classless person. Now, Cori Bush is not going to debate Byron Donalds because people like her don't debate. They just want to impose their ideas on everybody. Now, Mr. Donalds represents Florida's 19th congressional district. Cori Bush represents Missouri's 1st congressional district, which is basically the city of St. Louis and a little bit more of that area. Now, Cori Bush seems to make a name for herself. She's pro BLM. She's pro, all the woke stuff. She refers to mothers as birthing people. Now, what I would want to ask Mrs. Bush, whatever, um, which congressional district do you think black people are better off living in? Do you think they're better off living in St. Louis, or do you think they're better off living in Mr. Donald's district, which I believe includes Naples, Marco Island, that part of Florida? Now, the answer is pretty obvious. So I don't know who's upholding white supremacy because it seems like people would be better off in Mr. Donald's district. So I pulled up just one statistic here from Missouri's 1st congressional district from something called the Gun Violence Archive, and from 2014 through today in 2023, there have been a total of 2,484 homicides in Miss Bush's district. Okay. Now, obviously, she wasn't the congresswoman that entire time, but basically before her, you had somebody like her in there. The entire city is run by Democrats. I don't think there's been a Republican mayor of St. Louis since 1940s. Okay, so just under 2,500 homicides in the last 10 years in Missouri's 1st congressional district. Now, for comparison, let's look up Florida's 19th district, which is Mr. Byron Donalds' district, which again, he hasn't been the congressman that whole time, but we're just going to compare the two here. So from just under 2,500 in Miss Bush's district to a grand total of 281 in Mr. Donald's district. So, where do you think black people would be safer to live? in a district run by people who supposedly have, black people's best interest at heart in St. Louis, or in a district in Florida, which Miss Bush would probably characterize as having been represented by people trying to uphold white supremacy. Well, the answer is pretty clear here. So, props to Mr. Donalds. Again, a very classy response to a classless person. What do you all think? Is Cori Bush just jealous? Is she just desperate for attention? Because I can tell you this: Byron Donalds might be speaker someday. He's probably not going to get it this time. It probably is going to end up being McCarthy, but I don't think Cori Bush is ever going to be in the conversation to be Speaker of the House. So let me know what you all think. Do you think Byron Donalds would make a good speaker? Do you think Cori Bush is just trying to get her name out there because she's jealous? Let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.